Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another My Team video. It's time for the penultimate Grand Prix here in My Team Season 3. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do, as we are only 5 subscribers away from 200 subscribers. If we can get it by, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, that would be amazing. As we are doing, once again, another upgrade. It will be the last upgrade of this season, and it's an ultimate upgrade on the brakes, because of course we want to have the best chance of getting that title for the driver standings. Of course, Ferrari will probably win the constructors title, but we can still go for the drivers as we are only 3 points away from the lead. And our gearbox wasn't in the best state, so we had to get a new one. Luckily, there's no penalty for that, and let's get into qualifying. If we don't get a good quali, it could mean that we will lose this year's title, so that's not what we want. We waited a bit for the track to get up to temperature and for us to get the best performance out of our car. And you can see we are currently in P22, but that will change after our first or maybe second lap, as we need to get our tires up to temperature to make sure that we can get the fastest lap out there. Of course, you can see tires are cold. That means that we do not get a good run, but it doesn't matter because it's only the out lap, as we are now starting our first flying lap. It won't be our only. That is one thing that I can say to you. And yeah, it's a really long straight that we will continue to drive on. And after that we get a good amount of corners. As you can see, one of my favorite parts of the circuit is of course this corner section. And even though I take it horribly wrong, I still stay within track limits, so that's good for us. And at the end of this lap we will see where we will end up, and it's currently P8, but of course the top 16 will go through, but I feel like it's not good enough for me. So I want to do another lap, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Up to this point we didn't really gain anything. We did set a purple second sector, but it felt like that last that stadium section just wasn't good enough for me, as we are improving once more, and it looks like we are taking out half a second. We make a mistake on the last corner and we lock up, but it doesn't matter. We still gain 3/10. We are in P5 behind our teammate, and that's it for Q1. You can see P11, so it was only good that I did another run, otherwise we might have been out. So luckily that didn't happen. You can see Max Verstappen with a 114.6. I don't know where he got that, because that's 6/10 faster than the second. Dan ticked him in the McLaren, so maybe it was just a glitch, we never know. But let's move on to the next part of qualifying then. It's P16 for us at the moment, but we are starting our first lap once again. I decided to wait just a bit longer to make sure that I can see how fast I am compared to the other drivers, instead of them finishing their lap after I've done mine. So that's why I am out at the moment. But yeah, as you can see, a good run through the first couple of corners. Those are always tricky with the curves, but luckily I did it well enough to make a good lap. But I felt like this part was also really difficult for me, as my car didn't rotate the way that I liked. But it's only P11 at the moment, and that's not good enough. If we get P11, then we are probably out of qualifying. Or at least, yeah, we are out of qualifying, but we can set another lap, and that's what we are going to do. We are the first of many drivers to put in our lap, or are we the last? No, we are the last. It's a few weeks since I've recorded this video, so I don't really know what will happen. But as you can see, it's a surprise for me as well then. Gaining 3/10 at the moment, and that's probably enough to make sure that we can get into the top 10. Perez currently in P10, so he will probably fall out as we improve by half a second, and it goes up to P6. So we are through to the next part of qualifying, and that means that we can go for pole position. Of course, pole position, it only happened once. I don't know if it can happen another time, because it's not our best part of the weekend, luckily. Because if we lost a lot of points in the race, then it would mean that we will no longer be in contention for the championship. You can see Leclerc this time on P1 with Fernando Alonso in P2, my teammate in P3, so that's really good. Perez is out, so he is no longer in this qualifying, fighting for pole position, and it will be really difficult for him to get that up into the top 10 in the race. But we are getting ourselves our first of 2 runs. Of course, we still have 2 set of tires ready for this qualifying. and that's why we are going to use both of them. I don't think we are going to use the softs in the race. We usually do a medium to hard strategy, so that's what we are going to do today as well. And as you can see, this time around we don't wait that long because we only have 12 minutes. And you can see a purple second sector on my minimap, but it says green on my, I don't know how to call it, in the top right. But we are going through the stadium section once again to make sure that we can end this lap good. And Max Verstappen put in a 1:15 flat, and we go for a 1:15.2. So only 2/10 of pole position. It's currently Verstappen in P1, Leclerc in P2, and me in P3. The same as it is in the driver standings at the moment. I want to change that. I want to get pole position and make sure that we can win this race. Of course, we won it last year. We won it the year before. So we should win it again today, or so I am hoping. Because otherwise it can really be difficult to get that championship in our hands. We still only have one hand on it, but Leclerc and Verstappen also have one hand on it. And I feel like if we get a bad result here, it will be really difficult. Of course, the finale will be next time around as we are starting our final lap. Never mind, we are already at the end of our final lap. I was talking too much about other stuff. But as you can see, the final lap, we are currently up by 2/10, and will that be enough for pole position? I don't know. Final corner, we are down to P5 and it's up to P2. Unfortunately not qualifying on pole position, but still P2 is really good to have a good start in the first row. So let's take a look who took pole position today. It's Charles Leclerc in P1, 3.5 tenths quicker than me. I don't know how he did that. At the end, Max Verstappen wasn't faster, so he's in P3, Fernando Alonso in P4, and my teammate down in P8. Not the worst, but I feel like he could have done a bit better, as I am in P2, and this is not my best part of the weekend. But still, let's make sure that we can get a good run down to the turn 1, and let's get a good race.
Welcome to Mexico City, the most popular city in North America, and home, of course, to the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd as usual here at one of the shortest circuits on the Formula One calendar. And who, I wonder, will they be cheering on the top step of today's podium? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right, and the remaining 7 going to the left. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and the engineer completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Daniel Ricciardo, and Ticktum, Russell, Hamilton, Liam Lawson, and Sergio Perez, Magnussen, Ocon, Lando Norris and Albon, Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Oscar Piastri. They've taken a grid penalty. Stroll, Schwartzman, Tsunoda and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Everything we need to do at this moment is make sure that we get a good start and get ourselves into P1. And it's lights out and away we go, and we actually get a perfect getaway, but unfortunately we have some wheel spin, and that makes sure that Leclerc holds on to the lead at the moment. Max Verstappen is side by side with me, and so is Fernando Alonso. Do we still hold P2? I don't know. Let's see. Into the first corner we go. It's still Charles Leclerc in the lead, and we are going side by side into turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. It looks like we are getting ourselves up into P2 once again, and we are currently safe from anyone behind, because they are fighting as much as we did in turn 1. And as you can see at the moment, getting to the end of lap 1 is Leclerc leading the way. Myself in P2, and actually with a gap of 1.5 seconds, even 2 seconds, it's Verstappen behind me. So can we get away with Leclerc? That would be really good, because that would help us in a later stage to make sure that we can become once again race winners here at the circuit. The only driver who has won here since this series has started is me. So can we continue that? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. As Leclerc is pretty fast at the moment. He is doing some good runs. And he is currently breaking that 1 second gap. As you can see, it's 1.1 seconds at the moment. Verstappen losing a lot of time because he's fighting with Alonso. That's probably something that he needed to do for his teammate, of course, because he wants to win this championship as well. But of course, we are not going to let that happen as we are currently in lap 4, still behind Leclerc, 1.2 seconds. We are not in the DRS zone. But because Verstappen and Alonso are fighting so much, they are losing so much time. They are 4 seconds behind. Tictum currently in P5 and he is even more behind. So we are currently just trying to save the tires, not fighting too much. Of course, I don't want to push that hard because otherwise we will lose tire performance early on in this stint, as that's not what we need. You can see the gap is really steady between me and Leclerc. We are almost at the same pace, and you can see I make a mistake. Luckily, no problem there with track limits, or at least the stewards thought so. And you can see Alonso 8 seconds behind. It's only lap 6. How are they doing that? It can be possible that Alonso is fighting that well just for his teammates. But it looks like it's happening just like in Hungary 2021 to make sure that Ocon could win the race. And it looks like at the moment the only one who can stop Leclerc is me. And that gap is still 1 second. Lap 11 and the gap is 9 seconds. To Verstappen is even 13 seconds. It's unbelievable. We are not fighting that much because we want to save our tires, of course. As we need to do that to make sure that we can go to the pit stop point in this race to make sure that we have enough tires left to not get a puncture or something like that. We currently have the fastest lap since lap 4. So let's try to hold on to that because every point counts. If we lose 1 point, it could mean the difference between winning this championship and being third in this championship. So we need to make sure that we can get, that we can get every point that we want. Of course, we want the maximum amount of points, but if it's not possible, then at least we can try to take P2 together with the fastest lap. And you can see the gap has gone down from 1 second to 3/10 only. But at the moment, this is my lap to go into the pits. I don't know. I thought it was lap 14. It can be later into the race. But you can see it's a purple first sector, a red second sector. So I'm pushing really hard now. And we are not going into the pit at the moment. I think this is our pit lap. But as you can see, we are so close behind Leclerc. We are even going to try and overtake him. But you need to get a perfect opportunity to not lose time. Of course, we have enough time behind us as the gap is 11.7 seconds. But I just did not take the right line to make sure that I could overtake him. I'm taking a lot of different lines because I want to make sure that I can get that lead here in Mexico. But at the moment it doesn't look like it, as we are still not at a halfway point, so there's still a long way to go. Lap 16, this is our pit window. I was waiting for that one, as the gap is still only 4/10. You can see not using ERS because I want to save a bit for after the pit stop phase. It could well be that we will lose time in the pit stops, so I want every percent that I can get of the ERS to make sure that we can fight back. I don't think that we will lose positions because losing 12 seconds in a pit stop phase, that would be ridiculous. That would only happen if you have a massive problem with your pit stop, but I don't see that happening to our team. The pressure is high, but I feel like they can still hold their positions like they should in the pits. So let's make sure that we can get a good pit stop as we are lapping Latifi. And you can see it surprised me a little bit that he went to the left-hand side, even though there's the racing line. So I felt like, what is he doing? And I lost a bit of time there. You can see 7/10 is now the difference, but we are coming into the pits. And as we are entering the pits, we are going to take out that small orange thingy. And as you can see, turning in, I'm not doing it. I was looking at my phone, I forgot to turn in. So it's a estimate stop time of 3 seconds. It's 3.1. It's almost a second slower than we are used to. So that will really cost us maybe a position or two here coming out of the pits. You can see Liam Lawson, Lewis Hamilton, and even Sergio Perez are going by. They are all fighting on their old medium, so I can just relax a bit to make sure that I can get my tires up to temperature and then fight once they go into the pits. But I feel like they should go in any second now, because of course they are on the same strategy as me. And as you can see, once again, just trying to get a good line through it. It's really difficult with cold hearts. And at the moment, a few drivers have pitted, like Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. And you can see how far they are behind us. Perez only 2 tenths ahead. Can we try to overtake him at the end of this straight? It's a really short straight after this one, after the first straight. So unfortunately, no overtake here. But can we use a different line to try and switch back? It looks like it. We are trying everything we have to make sure that we don't lose that much time to Leclerc. So he is really not that far ahead of us, but we are going to overtake Perez right here. Oh my god, yes, we did it. He had a problem with his car, and it looks like it was in the corners, so that's why we could overtake him there in that S section. And you can see yellow flag. I think that's somebody with an engine issue, or is it just slowing down for no reason? It's just slowing down for no reason, apparently. As you can see, Leclerc is now in P1 once again. We are in P2 and Alonso in P3. 2 seconds is the gap, so we lost a bit of time, of course, with that slow stop. But also with the traffic that we had. But I feel like we can fight back once again. Only 16 laps remaining. Alonso 10 seconds behind, so no pressure there. Ricciardo has the fastest lap at the moment. That is not a big surprise because he is on the mediums compared to us on the hards. So he will probably have to make another pit stop or have to go really long on those mediums. Still 16 laps to go. But at the moment it looks really calm here in Mexico. Can something happen? Yes, it can. As we take the fastest lap, I wasn't even pushing that hard. And there are now 2 yellow sectors. You can see what is happening here. Is everybody retiring at the same time? I think that's Nicholas Latifi and Pierre Gasly who are retiring at the same time. Yes, it's Nicholas Latifi and Pierre Gasly. Let's take a look at what happens there. Is there a safety car? Yes, there is. Oh boy, this could make a big difference in what will happen. But you can see now on the screen, it's Pierre Gasly and Nicholas Latifi retiring at the exact same time. To be honest, I've never seen that before, so that's something new. That all the engines just stop working at the same time. But now, behind the safety car, we can see where everybody is standing. It's Leclerc and myself in the top. Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo are behind us. And it looks like my teammate is only in P14. That's not good at all. That will probably mean that Ferrari will win the constructor title. But still, it's all to play for in the driver standings. As Verstappen is only in P5, so he is not really that high. So I feel like we can take a good amount of points if we can overtake Leclerc after this phase from the safety car. Stroll has a 5-second time penalty. It only... I don't know, I just noticed it right now. But the safety car is coming in this lap. It's only 10 laps after this one. And as you can see, I'm really close behind Leclerc. I want to overtake him into turn 1, of course, with our ERS and probably only that because DRS isn't enabled yet. As we are once again underway, it's green lights. Once again, the safety car has gone into the pits and we are fighting once again for that top step on the podium. Fernando Alonso really close behind me, and behind that it's Max Verstappen fighting with Daniel Ricciardo. Can we overtake Charles Leclerc into turn 1? No, we can't. But can we try to put pressure on him to make sure that he will make a mistake? It doesn't look like it at the moment, as we are a bit further into the first lap on the green flag running. Once again, it's only half a second in between Leclerc and myself and Fernando Alonso and myself. So we are really close behind each other. And Fernando Alonso is still trying to stay as close as possible, because if he doesn't do that, that could mean that I will attack Leclerc. As long as I'm under threat of Fernando Alonso, it will probably be harder to overtake Leclerc, so that's probably his job at the moment. And it looks like now we are only with 4 guys fighting for this win. It's myself, Leclerc, Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo actually. To be honest, I really thought that he was going to make another pit stop, but it looks like he's going to the end on those mediums. Verstappen not really having the pace today, as he is currently in P5, 4 seconds behind once again. So it's probably something with his car, or maybe some damage that we haven't noticed, or maybe our engineer didn't tell us. But I think that's the only option that could have happened. Maybe a problem with his setup, that he chose the wrong one. I don't know how that can happen to someone like him. But yeah, once again, yellow flags. It looks like just somebody went a bit too deep into the second turn. So we are not going to pay attention to that, as we are really close once again behind Leclerc. Can we try to overtake him now? I want to take this win to make sure that we win here 3 times in a row. That would be absolutely crazy to win here every time we've come to this circuit. And I can tell you this will be on next year's calendar as well. I haven't really chosen the calendar, but I will in the next video. I will make sure that I will include it in that video. So don't forget to subscribe, as we are now fighting, going around the outside of Charles Leclerc into the next few turns. And it looks like we are taking the better line here. Leclerc has better traction, but we are still side by side using my ERS. And it looks like we are still side by side. Oh my god, this is the perfect battle for the championship. Unfortunately, it's still the penultimate race, not the final race. If this happened in the final race, it would be absolutely crazy. The fighting is not even over. Leclerc is coming back at me, but we are taking that inside line still side by side. Into turn 2 and 3 we go. But we need to just have one good exit and make sure that Leclerc has a fight with his teammate. And by the looks of it, it is not happening. We are still side by side. We are fighting for more than a lap now. And it looks like Leclerc is taking the position, going around the outside once again. It turns to the inside and we take the better line here. We try to get a good getaway from that corner, and it looks like we are now leading the Grand Prix after 31 laps of driving in P2. It looks like finally we are in the first position. Leclerc is still really close behind me, but I feel like it's not that dangerous anymore. Never mind, we had a horrible exit out of that corner, and it looks like Leclerc is fighting once again with us. And he takes the lead once again. Oh boy, this is unbelievable. I thought I had it in the bag, but unfortunately I made a mistake under pressure, and it looks like Leclerc is once again leading. Can we try to overtake him once again? We need to do it, otherwise we will lose too many points to him, and we won't gain enough on Verstappen. We need to take every point that we can. Really close behind, only 1/10 is separating us. And Alonso and Ricciardo are only within 1 second of me, so it's really fighting for that win with all 4 of us. Verstappen 5 seconds behind, so he's probably going to not going to do anything, as we use all our ERS, all our DRS. I don't know how you can use 70% of your DRS, but we take another line, we put him into an error, and we are currently once again leading the Mexican Grand Prix. Can we hold on to it this time? I think we have it in the bag right now, as Leclerc is fighting with his teammate. And it even looks like Alonso has overtaken his teammate. Oh my god. Ferrari has done it once again. They have fucked up their own strategy after leading for 33 laps. I think it's 33 laps, yes. Oh boy. Leclerc loses not only P1 but also P2. Can he even get overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo? I don't know. But we'll see that as we are now in the final lap. Alonso in P2 still. Oh my god, what is happening here? Oh, if I could guess anything at the start of this Grand Prix, I didn't think this would happen. So yeah, as you can see, oh boy, exceeded track limits. My god, that's not good, as we have a horrible run to here. We once again lose time, but this time Alonso is not close enough. So we are staying in P1. Only a few corners to go, going to the stadium section for the final of 36 times. Can we take this win? Yes, we can, as we are exiting here. One final corner. We've won here 2 times before, and we are going to do it once again. We take home the win in Mexico. Oh my god. Wow, yeah. If you would have told me in the first season that we would win it 3 times in a row, I don't know. I wouldn't believe you at all, but we've done it. We absolutely did it at an amazing style. Wow.
Well, that might not have been the finest race in history, but there's no question it was a critical win. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
And as you can see, it's myself in P1 once again here in Mexico. And it's really unbelievable what Ferrari did there. Because Fernando Alonso is in P2 and he's not even fighting for the championship. Leclerc has now lost 3 more points, and that could make the difference in that final race. Of course, the finale is in Brazil and there will be a sprint race, but still it can make that difference maybe between winning and losing. So have Ferrari lost it? probably.
So let's review
But as you can
updated
see,
driver
the
standings.
standings,
Takes
we
over
win the
the
Grand Prix. Fernando
drivers'
Alonso and Charles
championship.
Leclerc finish the
Let's
podium.
focus on the driver
Is
of
Daniel
today,
Ricciardo in
Anthony
P4 and Max
Davidson.
Verstappen in
Give me a
P5? Not the
pick.
best race for him.
Cool.
Oscar
But I might
Piastri in
say
P13,
Esteban
so he
Ocon.
will be
He's
replaced at
just
the
so
end of
gifted
this
at
season.
getting the most
But
out of his
unfortunately, we
tyres,
have to wait
and
a
he
bit
showed that today.
until
So
that
then,
is
Ferrari have
done.
now moved out of
Let's take a look
sight
at the
and
standings
out
now.
of
It looks
reach.
like we are
It's
leading.
another
Yes, we
triumph
are
for
with
the
10
Italian
points
team.
over Max
They
Verstappen and
claim
11
the
over
World
Charles
Constructors'
Leclerc.
Championship.
If Alonso
Well, that
didn't
was
finish in
certainly an
P2,
exciting
Leclerc
weekend
would
of
be ahead
Formula
of
One.
Verstappen,
Be
and
sure
it
to
could
join
make a
us for
big
more
difference.
exciting Formula
Oscar
One
Piastri is still
action
only in
very soon.
P13, so he's nowhere. And we are 50 points behind Ferrari, so that's probably a win for Ferrari in the constructor standings. They have won the constructors title, but let's make sure that we can take home the driver standings, so that we can get a good, a good end to the season. But that is it for today's episode. If you don't want to miss the finale of this series, then make sure that you like and subscribe right now. If you don't do that, it could be that I will lose the championship. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button, that we can get to 200 subscribers. And I'll see you in the finale of My Team Season 3. Goodbye.